Alrighty, howdy neighbors, and welcome to Forgotten, Not Lost. This is a game I found. It's supposed to be about an individual with dementia and how that works. At least that's what I read anyway. Let's start the game. We're just jumping right in, aren't we? Wake up, you old fool. Open my eyes slowly at the incessant urging, grunting in protest. Is it another day already? I should get up and feed Maybell then. With a great deal of effort, I pushed myself into a sitting position. However, when I finally will myself to open my eyes, I almost fall back in surprise at the unfamiliar face peering back at me. Who is this person? Quickly, come and have your breakfast. I sit there for a moment, staring at her in silence. It seems rude to ask her who she is and what she's doing here, but considering she is the stranger who is randomly showing up at your house, I suppose I have the right to ask. I clear my throat, work up the courage to voice the pressing question. My voice croaks, still thick from sleep. Sorry, who are you? The old lady freezes, as though caught off guard by my words. There's a beat of silence, and she just looks at me intently, making me cough in discomfort. Why is she staring at me like that? Do I know her? Finally, she smiles softly. It's me, your wife. Remember? Suddenly it hits me like a ton of bricks. She's my wife, Madeline, whom I've been married to for 40 years. How could I possibly forget? Of course. I don't know what got into me for a second there. I apologize. I stand up, walking over to the dining table and sitting down. A content smile spreads across my face at the sight of eggs and bacon on the plate before me. Looks like the hens laid their eggs without problem today. When does Mirabelle come back? The question spills out of my mouth naturally, without thinking, but a strange feeling instantly strikes me. Something feels off. Is something wrong with our beloved daughter Mirabelle? Madeline sighs and sits down at the seat opposite of me. She pats my head and smiles indulgently. Dear Mirabelle is gone. She passed away in the plague 30 years ago. Unfortunate. Madeline's words ring a bell in my mind, but the memory keeps slipping away every time I try to grasp it. I shake my head in confusion. My memory has been getting worse and worse these days, according to Madeline. If this thought is even correct in the first place, my memory is failing me to the extent where I'm sometimes unable to recall what I had for breakfast just moments after I finish eating. Remember to use your knife when you're eating, dear. Madeline places the knife in my other hand and smiles encouragingly. I try to move both hands together at the same time, but for some reason, one hand is exasperatingly less responsive than the other is. Let a frustrated sigh when my knife falls on the table with a clatter after my fifth failed attempt. Madeline sighs softly before moving to sit beside me instead. She briefly squeezes my hand in a comforting gesture as she reaches for the fork and takes the knife from me. Carefully, she cuts the food into smaller pieces. You big baby. Say ah. My sheepish smile turns into a more genuine, happy smile. This reminds me of a first date decades ago. I open my mouth as she feeds me a small slice of bacon. I chew it slowly, savoring the taste. This really reminds me of when we went to the high tower for our date. Madeline seems surprised, her eyes widening a little. I remember that. You get an enthusiastic nod as she feeds you a small slice of pork sausage. I was meeting our parents officially as your student for the first time, and there was a small boat nearby. We stole it, obviously. I sailed out to sea. I still remember all the apples you brought along in your basket. They were delicious. We fed each other apples while watching the waves in the middle of the ocean. We did. You're right. There's something different about Madeline's smile as she speaks. It's even wider and happier than before. I wonder why. Isn't it common for couples to talk about their shared days from the past? As she continues feeding me, I swallow obediently. I'm well aware of the fact that I am, to an extent, a burden on her. The least I could do is help relieve her stress by being compliant. When the last of my food was gone, she dabs at my mouth with a cloth and moves back over to her own seat to start her own meal. As I watched Madeline nibble at her food, I couldn't push away the feeling that I'm forgetting something I need to do. What was it? A firm concentration. Suddenly an earlier thought pops back into my mind. Ah, Maybelle! I just laid a feud this morning. I immediately get up from my chair and walk to the backyard, hurrying in case this thread of thought leaves me once again before I complete the task. To my surprise, the spot where Maybelle usually stands is empty. I look around wondering if Maybelle is hiding somewhere, but I see no sign of her. I shout loudly to Madeline. Madeline, where's Maybelle? Maybelle is our cow. I got her from Mayor Orland as a birthday gift years ago. Since then, she has brought in countless coins with her good milk, and has quickly become one of our most prized possessions. Oh, fool. Maybelle died last year. I scratch my head, baffled. Is that true? If Madeline says so, I suppose it is true. I turn to the house, giving Madeline a quick kiss on the cheek as I walk by. Stopping in front of the fireplace, I plop down in my armchair with a sigh. The fire crackles, and I watch the familiar flames for a while before getting distracted by a basket of old trinkets next to me. Feeling curious, I decide to examine them. I pick up one peculiar-looking item, stare at it for a long while. Then I try to take it apart, but I fail. Perplexed, I set it back down in the basket. It's irking me, how it seems so familiar to me, but I can't recall what it is exactly. Dear, I'm going to the market. Do me a favor and stay where you are, okay? Don't worry, I wasn't planning on going anywhere. I smile and bid her farewell. A loud click of the padlock ensues, signaling that Madeline has left. With nothing else to do, I pick the trinket up again and continue to toy with it. Is it a piece of iron? A toy? I can't quite tell. I'm startled out of my daze when the thunder rumbles. Thunder? Is a storm brewing? I look out the window to check, and I frown in surprise at the dark, cloudy skies. It seems like just a moment ago the sky was clear and blue. I wonder how much time has actually passed. A sudden blinding flash of lightning caused me to flinch, squeezing my eyes shut reflexively. What happens? It looks like there really will be a storm. I was doing a bad one. In that case, Maybelle needs to be brought into the barn. I'm already at the front door when a surprisingly clear thought flashes across my mind. Right, Madeline said that Maybelle is dead. So I could start taken care of. I returned to what I was doing previously. I'm determined to figure out what this item is. Still not quite sure. But I somehow have a feeling that I will solve this mystery soon enough. After a while, my interest in the trinket fades, and I set it down on the end table. Strangely enough, it seems to be on the verge of falling over, no matter how much I adjust the angle. I spent some time attempting to keep it upright before giving up. The fire's gone out by now. Silence echoes in the room. Is Madeline still not back yet? It's almost dinner time. It's unlike her to take so long for a single trip to the market. I look at the downpour outside. A worried sigh escapes my mouth. Maybe I should go find her. Maybe we should not, because they don't seem to be the most steady. I try to open the door, but it seems Madeline has locked me in. Old fool. She should take me for someone who would be silly enough to wander out of the house and get lost. What should I do then? I can't go anywhere until Madeline comes home. Feeling the beginning pains of hunger, I walk over to the kitchen and search for some food to ease the hunger. A note near the cast iron pot catches my attention. The water in this pot is hot. You can use to drink your favorite tea. The tea tin is in the drawer, second from the bottom. Love, Madeline. How considerate! Now I can enjoy my tea while waiting for Madeline. I smile and take out the tea tin from the drawer before making my own cup of tea. I lean back in my armchair, sipping on the tea. The smell of the rain gradually seeps into the house, and even the warmth of the tea fails to ward off the cold. I stare into the unlit fireplace, shivering. Maybe we should relight it after all. Where are my matches? Oh, right. I always keep the matches in my dresser, just in case I need to light an oil lamp when I wake up in the night to get something. Digging in the drawers, I take out a match and strike it before throwing it into the fireplace. The fireplace crackles into life, and I stroke it with a fire poker until it is a warm, comforting flame. Satisfied, I go back to my comfortable seating position. For the life of me, I cannot remember what I was doing just now before lighting the fire. I rub my temples tiredly, annoyed at myself. For some reason, as late as it is, I keep forgetting my actions the second I turn my head. Ironically, I recall things in the past with vivid detail. A great deal of my past, in fact. Though on the bright side, I suppose at my age, there's no point in thinking about recent things anyway. You always want to joke about the good old days, reminiscing about all the brightest hours and the wildest moments of the journey on this earth, before it eventually comes to an end, as all things do. I feel nothing but peace and acceptance at the thought of what awaits me at the end of my time. After all, when you are 60 in this world, you are considered to have lived a long and good life. On top of that, it is said that when you have been married for 40 years, you must have led a fulfilling life. I don't know if 60 is now considered to be a long and good life. I know that if you're married for like 20, then you're considered having a fulfilled love life. At least if you stay married. No. By this standard, I should have no regrets. I forgot if I pressed the button. From Madeline and I had a wonderful, loving marriage for decades. We even had a child together. It brought meaning and joy beyond all imagination into our life, but the fact that she died in the play a long time ago. Or maybe not even that long ago. I can't be certain. Unfortunately, the clearest memories I retain are of things that happened in my teens, in the first part of my adulthood, but the rest gets murky, including the time after Mirabelle's birth. I stretched my arms, sighing contentedly, at the pull of my cramped muscles, and almost knocked a cup over at the table next to me. Oh! There's my teacup! I have yet to finish. I picked it up delightedly and take another sip of the tea, indulging in the memories that are rushing into my head. Drinking tea always reminds me of my father. He loved tea more than anyone I ever knew. Being born in rural Memoria? Are you kidding me? Alright, being born in rural Memoria, in the corners of the empire where tea was aplenty and cheap, did not help his tea drinking habits. There was hardly ever a day, no matter how busy father was, where he would skip his usual evening routine of reading in his armchair, his trusty teacup in his other hand. Come to think of it, father was probably the biggest influence and reason behind my adoration for tea as an adult. I remember when I was a child, father would often take me to pluck tea leaves at our plantation. It was great fun. We would even turn it into a competition to see who would gather the most leaves. And father would always let me win, which I didn't realize until I was older. At the time, I didn't understand why mother would always laugh and share a secret smile with father when I celebrated in triumph after every round of competition. But now I do. Regardless, these contests were some of my best childhood memories. Sometimes, even Madeline joined in. She was our neighbor, coming from a poor farming family like us, but they led a much tougher life, barely making ends meet. We also played together as children, even though... I suddenly lose my train of thought. Fighting the fogginess in my brain, I try to resume my internal musing. It happens. Oh, right. Our families naturally became good friends. Since we lived next to each other and seeing their struggles, my family would frequently lend them money, especially during the difficult months when they couldn't even afford food. Perhaps this would discourage adults from becoming too close, deterred by an ill sense of shame or pride. But as children, we never let these things affect us. Madeline and I spent most of our free time together, making up games to entertain ourselves, and getting each other in trouble. We were almost an inseparable pair of best friends. Eventually, as we grew up and started viewing each other as more than just an annoying friend who happened to live next door, love blossomed between us. After a period of courting, I proposed to her on a summer day, in the very same fields where we first met. We got married in a small ceremony, nothing grand, but still beautiful in its simple way. Afterward, we went faced with the choice of moving to a bigger town for a chance at better jobs or staying behind in Memoria. We decided on the latter to take care of our aging parents. In the end, it turned out to be the wiser decision. When our parents passed away, we inherited both of their farms and merging it together, which was more than enough to sustain our living and make up for the financial opportunities we missed out on by choosing to stay in Memoria. Compared to most rural folks, we had it easy. Mirabelle, our baby girl, was born in the wee hours of the new year. She was bright and beautiful, with a bubbly laugh, and always a spring in her steps. Yet just as she had begun going to school and was aspiring to be a princess, tragedy struck. The cruel heavens brought a plague down upon the town, taking the lives of many. Mirabelle was one of the first to fall ill. It was a sickness that no physician could cure, and despite us even traveling far and inviting the best physicians, Mirabelle never recovered. Mirabelle passed away in our arms one night as we wept, shaking with devastation and disbelief. We buried her with her favorite toys and sung her favorite lullaby as our neighbors came to help bury her body. A great number of people in town dropped by to pay their respects, give our condolences. Everyone in Memoria had loved Mirabelle. It was a dark period after Mirabelle's passing, where we seemed to drown in grief and could not surface. Our baby girl was gone. How could we live on? But life continued for us. We lived on. Eventually, we learned to pick up the pieces. We then started to make regular donations to families who needed the money, and that they could send their children to school or get out of debt. Of course, we have since retired and could no longer afford to do so. But for a while there, bringing joy to other families and their children kept us going. In the end, even when we thought we couldn't, we survived and got past Mirabelle's untimely death. But the wounds never fully healed. Madeline and I clung to each other even more, taking care of each other until the day we will be reunited with Mirabelle. We're always here. I'll wait for you. We are family. I smile and finish my tea, sitting inside, overwhelmed by a sudden, unexplainable sense of exhaustion. I can't resist the urge to close my eyes. Madeline should be back soon, from wherever she went. I rest until she returns. But Madeline will not be angry with me for sleeping before dinner. I can't really explain why, but I just feel like sleeping more these days. My mother's last days flash across my mind with startling clarity. She also liked to sit in the same chair that I'm in right now, just watching the fireplace crackle and burn until sleep would pull her under. One night she went to sleep after saying goodnight to all of us, and never woke up. She passed away peacefully in her sleep, a faint smile still on her face. Your eyes are getting heavier now. Darkness envelops me and I welcome it. I force my eyes open groggily. A strange, unexplicable feeling washes over me. Is this a dream? I look down at my hands impulsively. Maybe it's just my wishful thinking. But they look less wrinkled. I turn toward the window to check the weather, spot a figure in the distance. A very familiar laughter rings out clearly, filling me with a sense of warmth and happiness. The loud jingling of keys being smelled to my face as I reach out to the figure in impatience. Oh. All of a sudden the light around me dims drastically, causing me to yelp in surprise. Knock, knock. I jerk in the seating position, gasping. My eyes fly open on their own accord, darting around the room in confusion. But they're closed. I could have sworn I was just looking out the window a moment ago. Was that only my imagination? I rubbed the sleepiness from my eyes, yet to my feet unsteadily. This time when I look at the window, faint silhouette is gone. There was only a fiery sun hanging in the blue sky, that single dreary cloud for miles. Suppose I really was dreaming. Or I can't shake the feeling that something isn't right. Just when I gaze across the room, is there something missing? No, more like someone. Who? My attempts at recollection are interrupted by rapid knocking at the door. I found a surprise. Is it a guest? I don't remember inviting anyone over. Maybe it is a business associate. Maybe it's Madeline's father, coming to return us the money. Dipping my hand in the water at the sink, I quickly tried to smooth down the bits of hair that were sticking out in wild directions, but making myself seem more presentable before moving to open the door. Huh? Standing on the other side of the door is a young lady dressed in an elegant gown, looking like she's prepared for a formal and important occasion. She peers up at me expectantly, with a friendly smile on her face the moment I open the door. Next to her is a little girl clinging to the hem of her dress, with a doll that resembles a cow in her arms. I try to stifle a chuckle at her clothing. Is she wearing a tomato costume? How adorable. I don't trust it. Excuse me, sir. May I ask if you have a room for the two of us to stay for a little while? It seems like, unfortunately, we've gotten ourselves lost, and we need a place to get some rest. Lost? That's hardly possible in Memoria. The town is too small to get lost in. Please. Mother and I just want to stay here for the night. I pause, a fleeting thought brushing across my mind. They look oddly familiar. Sorry, have we met? I wince when I hear the rudeness of my words. Perhaps I shouldn't have asked. It's possible that I just ran into them once in town before. But with that child's tomato costume sticking out like a sore thumb, it seems unlike that I've forget seeing them before. Oh no. Oh, it hurts. I just read it. It hurts. No. Oh no. Oh, this is gonna make me upset for a while. No, I don't believe we have. My name is Madeline, and this is my daughter Mirabelle. God. So sorry for inconveniencing you. But do you mind putting up with us for a night or two? I shook my head politely, stepped aside, gesturing for them to come in. Of course not. Just my wife and I here. So we have plenty of room. Please do come in. My wife. Right. Madeline? No, Madeline is missing. They're spelled slightly different, though. So maybe it's not, but it looks like, but maybe it's not. Maybe she's at the market. After all, she has always been a morning person. She wakes up as soon as the sun rises every day without fail. I quickly head to our room and peek inside. The dresser is left open, and her usual clothes are gone. Yeah, probably at the market then. It takes me a while to realize that Madeline has followed me, hovering behind me awkwardly. I meet her gaze and cough uncomfortably, wondering how to explain. Right, I have two guests here. I should be a good host. Would you two prefer to be in the same room? We have a child's room that's empty at the moment, if you don't mind your daughter staying there alone. I think both of us can stay in the child's room. Do you have a spare bedroll? I nod. In fact, we should have 2 extra bedrolls. Left over from the time when Mirabelle was ill, and we'd stay with her in her room to watch over her at night. We do. Please give me a moment. I just need to find it. Where did Madeline put them? My head churns. I feel like I should know where the bedrolls are, but I can't quite pinpoint the thought. The shed. The barn. Found it! Thanks for snooping. I sat back to the present, right as Mirabelle rushes over, holding up a large bedroll triumphantly. She moves to hand it over to Madeline, and notices the sunshine from the window glinting off the dust and specks of filth in the bedroll. gave an embarrassed cough, using a hand on the bedroll. Would you mind waiting for me to sit off and hanging out in the sun for a while? I apologize for the delay. Madeline gives an easy smile and shrugs, putting the bedroll in my waiting arms. Not at all. Thank you for your thoughtfulness. You don't really have to go to all this trouble, though. No. You are guests, after all. Please make yourselves at home while I go clean off this bedroll. My wife should be home soon, and she should be thrilled to have guests. Yeah, because that's how it all goes. The young lady laughs and gives a playful wink. I'm sure she will indeed be thrilled. This hurts. Also, I like her dress. Not necessarily the belt that's with it, but I like the sleeves. I'm just in the bedroll under my arm. I bend forward and pat a little Mirabelle on the head. By the way, thank you. You're a great help. Where did you find the bedroll? I found it underneath the bed. Yeah, I should have guessed. I still remember the times that I would drag the bedrolls from beneath the bed and spread them on the floor, while Madeline busied herself with comforting and convincing Mirabelle to eat some food between coughs. Sometimes we would switch, and Madeline would work on other chores around the house while I cared for her. No matter what, both of us would always be nearby, ready to fly to Mirabelle's side at the slightest twitch of her fingers. It pained us to see her suffering. Now we could do nothing but watch helplessly as her frame grew slighter and thinner with each passing day, listening to her coughs and wincing as though we could feel the sting in our throats too. I'd even hoped and prayed that I would be the one to go through the illness in her stead. After all, I was already an adult, but lived a good portion of my life. She had barely begun hers. She wanted to be a princess. She at least deserved a shot at it. Damn. Unfortunate. Anyway, I'm sorry, okay. Suddenly aware of the eyes on me, I nodded about the tears that formed against my bushes at the corner of my eye. I tried to force a reassuring smile, but it comes out more like a grimace. Mirabelle gives me a doubtful look, as though she could tell I'm lying. I think that Mirabelle resembles Mirabelle to a large extent. Oh, Maribel. Maribel resembles Mirabelle. I've been reading it wrong the whole time. Though she looks older and slightly more mature. Then again, how old and mature can you be when you're dressed like a tomato costume? Once again, urge the guests to entertain themselves while waiting, then slowly make our way out of the house. Taking my head to avoid the harsh sunlight, I heaved the bedroll over the clothing line and grabbed my carpet beater. Dust clouds flow through the air as I pound the bedroll, causing me to cough a little. Madeline will have my head if she sees what I'm doing. She always glares at me disapprovingly whenever I irritate my throat with dust or smoke. Speaking of Madeline, she should be back soon, I suppose. I need to figure out how to best explain to her about the two guests sitting here in the living room. I'm sure it'll go over fine, as Madeline has always loved entertaining guests. Perhaps she could even make those egg tarts that she always likes showing off to them. Truth be told, the tarts are a bit too salty for my taste, but hopefully the guests will like them more. Finishing my task with the bedroll, I turned to walk toward the barn to let Maybelle out, so she can graze her heart's content. I came to a halt when I found the padlock there instead. My eyebrows pulled together in confusion for a moment before my mind clears. Right. Maybelle's dead. Well, I guess that means my job out here is done. I went back to the house, stretching a little to get the strain out of my muscles. I feel marginally better, but my bones still ache. It seems like the bones in my body want to obey me less and less these days. If the wood were merely using the carpet beater is enough to have me groaning in pain. Madeline turns around to greet me with a smile as I approach them. I took the liberty of making a and makes the tea for us. I hope you don't mind. Would you like some now? I grin widely within and give an enthusiastic nod. Of course, like I would ever turn down tea. Thank you for the offer. If you're hungry, please feel free to eat what you want. We have plenty of food after all. Maribel perks up at my words and looks at me with an innocent, sweet smile. Oh, Maribel. Fuck. Do you have anything sweet? I ponder a question for a moment, trying to remember the contents in my pantry before nodding. I walk over to the kitchen and pulled out a slice of bread. Feeling two sets of curious eyes on me, I tried to speed up my work, smearing some butter on the bread before sprinkling sugar on it. Yes! Oh my god, the cinnamon sugar bread! Oh my god, the childhood memories coming home from school and making that. Beautiful. So it's not candy, but my daughter likes this kind of sweet bread. Have I told you about my daughter, Mirabelle? She's at school right now. I'm sure you and Mirabelle would be great friends, Maribel. Madeline nods approvingly as I hand the sugared buttered bread to Maribel, who accepts it gracefully and takes an eager bite out of it immediately. Maribel chews and beams at me, the look of pure contentment and pleasure on her young face taking me by surprise. I've missed this taste. Absolutely the fuck not. I'm ending this episode here. I'm not. Damn it. I picked a sad game. I'm gonna end this episode here. So thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I will see you later.